I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I shall. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Sorry, nobody looked at it.
I didn't. Do we have a representative for the applicant?
If you want to read the...
Oh, sure. You want me to read?
First.
Commonwealth Charter Academy, upon application for a special exception from the Plymouth Township Zoning Ordinance 342 as amended, XXV, Section 25,000.B.2. Special exception requested is as follows: to allow for an educational use. Property is located at 550 Township Line Road in Campus Industrial Zoning District. Perfect.
All yours.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. I'm Phil Murren. I'm an attorney in the Harrisburg area who represents Commonwealth Charter Academy. And Commonwealth Charter Academy has been purchasing properties in various parts of the state because it serves students from all over the state. It has 22,000 students at the moment. It teaches its students remotely, so the teachers come to an office center and they have office cubicles and conference rooms and meeting rooms, and they teach remotely. The students do not come on premises for the instruction. There are no school buses, there is no cafeteria, no gymnasium, none of the usual things that you would find in a customary school use. So it really is very much akin to an office use. So much so that, frankly, we had hoped to be able to convince the township officials that it was a use that was permitted of right in this particular zone as an office use, because in the zoning impacts, it really is indistinguishable from any other office use. It's going into a building that's currently used for offices. The only thing that will change as far as zoning impacts are concerned is there will be some interior renovation to make it adaptable for use by the staff and administrators of CCA. So we understand, and we were so advised, that we should apply for a special exception, but we hope in the course of that perhaps the appropriate township boards and officials might see that it really isn't a necessity for a special exception, but we will pursue that if that is the desire of the township. And with me tonight are Jim Skinner, who is the facilities director at CCA, Scott Williams, who is the real estate broker for CCA, and Jim Kilduff, who is the broker representing the present owner of the property. When CCA has the property under an agreement of sale right now, it will gradually renovate and occupy the space. There are existing tenants there, and those tenants will not immediately, some of those tenants will not immediately leave. So I don't know what percentage was on the square footage, but it looked from the drawings as though maybe a third of the building might still be occupied by the existing office use tenants when CCA begins its renovations. So we have some drawings here that will show you and illustrate better what the intended use will be, what it will look like. Jim can explain. Jim and Scott can explain what you're seeing.
Yeah, just a little history on us. We're here already. We have lease space just down on Sandy Hill Road. We have maybe somewhere in the neighborhood of 15,000 square feet there that we're currently leasing. We've outgrown it. With COVID, our folks that want to homeschool their students has grown significantly. Our staffing has doubled and across the state, and basically we just don't have enough cubicle space and office space for the staff that we hire. So that's basically what has prompted us to start to look for a larger space. This would basically triple our size square footage wise and give us some room to grow more comfortably. Right now, we're just kind of bursting at the seams down the road. So it's just a little bit of background so that you know we've just had great luck hiring staff and teachers out of this obviously large metropolitan area that is Philadelphia. So that's another reason that we want to stay here and be here is because we see just really from the HR standpoint just very good opportunities to continue to hire. So just to give you a little bit of background.
Sure. I'm Scott Williams from Jones Lang LaSalle. We put this brief overview together just to give you more detail about who the school is, more details about the building and future plans for the building. The second page is just to familiarise everyone with the location, adjacent tenants, etc. It's a great location for the school for proximity to highways and further recruiting teachers from the north, from all four directions, coupled with all the amenities that are surrounding the building right now. Just more of a detailed view, more for the civil engineering folks. The plan is to really keep the basic premise of the building as is. I'll show you how it breaks up in the middle in a moment. But the parking accommodates for the current need. There's no need for additional parking. As you'll see in a later depiction of another project, we park at about 2,500 to 3,000 because a lot of the teachers work in cubes, but when they're teaching, they go to offices. So they really underutilise the space per se. Just a more detailed site plan that Jim Kilduff was able to provide of current parking and stormwater. This is the current configuration of the building. Township Line Road is down to the bottom of the suite. At this stage, there's 3 tenants in here. There's 2 engineering tenants that are in the lower portion in here, which are vacating, and there's a church daycare centre in the upper left-hand corner. This is the area which will be renovated to accommodate CCA's use, which will be a combination of probably 25% offices, 25% meeting rooms, and 50% cubes.
Mostly, yeah.
Something like that.
Cubicles.
We do, and these are the 3 tenants which are currently in here. We've got the church, which is Cavalry Vision, THA Consulting, which are a structural engineering garage group, and then we've got Karachi, which are also another engineering architectural firm. They're in here. On this portion, we've got existing leases which Jim's group are willing to honour and keep in place, which probably expire in the next 1 to 4 years. And there's a title abstract company, there's a technology company. I don't even know what CEI does. Civil engineering, yeah. So this will be maintained currently with the current tenants, however will provide future growth for expansion. So obviously any renovations are going to be submitted as permits at the applicable time. We just wanted to give the board understanding of what's currently in the building. Bottom left-hand corner is the entrance of the daycare. Top left-hand corner is a cafeteria, some exterior building facade photos, and just some ideas of the current office configuration, which really is commensurate to what CCA's future use is of the building. Locally, as Jim said, they're in Norristown right now. We just bought the RICO headquarter building in Malvern, which is 125,000 feet. Mm-hmm. And that's being renovated at this stage for standard office use. Jim's already, if you want to talk any more about CCA?
Unless there's questions, I think our big thing was to just convey that we are a cyber charter school, that we teach kids remotely. That's usually if we have any questions as a school. People envision school buses and gymnasiums and cafeterias and that kind of thing. But we're an office.
If I could just add a little more context to it for cyber charter schools. The cyber charter school law came into effect in the early 2000s, and CCA was one of the very first cyber charter schools approved. Its charter is granted by the Pennsylvania Department of Education, and it has to meet all of the requirements of the cyber charter school law in order to maintain that charter and continue to operate and function within all of the statute and regulations.
And just to add one thing to that, I think through pre-COVID, they were growing exponentially. COVID has certainly further driven that growth, hence why we're acquiring buildings. And just to kind of show you their footprint in Pennsylvania, they are from the west to the east, north to the south. We just closed on a building in Mount Pocono 2 months ago. We're under agreement in a property in Monongahela.
Good enough.
So, yeah. This is just a sample of what they're doing. Obviously, everything goes in front of the code enforcement officials for building approvals, but they do a fantastic job renovating these buildings. I'm not saying we're going to have the same neon lights on this building as we have on our corporate headquarters, but they do reinvest back in the community and the buildings to make sure that they're trophy class. Actually, just as a trivial point, in their corporate headquarters in Harrisburg, in the center of the building, they've created a virtual hydroponic school, which kids learn about all over the state. How many fish have you got in there now?
Hundreds.
100, yeah. Yeah, it's pretty cool. And they're growing food, and it's pretty neat. And last but not least, just an example of, this is combination. The top left-hand corner is a building we just acquired in Erie. The building was almost falling down, and we just finalised the plans to reskin the building and completely renovate that. The other two plans are a building in West Reading, in Wyomissing, right in front of the borough, that we just acquired, the Customer's Choice Bank building. And this just shows the conversion of, this was a corporate operations centre, and this is how they typically are configured.
So just to show you again that we're an office.
That's it, so thank you.
Do you have anything else to present at this time?
Happy to respond to any questions.
Okay. Tony?
Just, ultimately, your goal is to be a single tenant in this building at one point when the lease is expired, I guess. And the part, yeah, and you, at this point, the way your structured use is that you would probably have excess parking in what's its existence. And I don't know, maybe recovering some of that impervious surface would be nice, but other than that, I mean, they're the only concerns or questions I would express. So.
Thank you, sir. Brittany?
I would say I'm supportive of your application. I think it's a great use for that particular space. I know where your office or school is now in Norristown, and I think this building probably fits your use a lot better. Just out of curiosity, do most of your employees come from outside of the township, or are they mostly local?
There's a lot of local.
Oh, yeah.
I know some, and it's just probably more information than you want, but when we bought the Melbourne building, we envisioned closing down Norristown, and of course I'm from Harrisburg. I don't think about the traffic around here. Everybody went crazy in Norristown and said, we do not want to commute to Melbourne. So that's what made us, okay, well, we have to rethink this. So we just know that we will eventually fill this building from this area.
Good use for the space, I think. That's all I have.
Thank you. Great.
I have no questions.
Thank you. So just for point of clarification, the church has already vacated or will vacate?
Will.
Will vacate, okay. I remember when all that went in. And this, everything in yellow here on the one diagram, that's the space that's going to be renovated first to come up to meeting the cubes and office space needed for teaching and preparation. I guess it's probably broken down in that way.
That's correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
And as Tony mentioned, you're taking over the entire facility.
Yes.
Okay.
We will be landlords for a while anyway.
Sure. And obviously during renovation, during the migration of the other 3 tenants eventually leaving, Tony brings up a great point of potentially reclaiming some pavement area in macadam for green space, but obviously at a future date. I doubt that could be done with everything else going on at the same time. And will students ever be on site for any reason?
So students, we cannot make any student come in, for one. But if they do call, if they happen to be local, and they need to come in for some reason, pick up a laptop, we don't stop anybody from coming in.
Okay. And
But it would be mom and dad
Sure.
driving over,
Right.
almost like a doctor's office kind of a thing, I guess.
And would there be any instance where education would occur in person with a student for any reason?
No, we don't have
Okay.
any classrooms or
Right.
anything like that in there.
Sure. Okay. Good. Does our engineer have any comments at this time?
Everything's fine.
All right. Nothing from the back. Do you have anything, Mr.?
Just to go back to the beginning, why a special exception is needed. There was precedence right before COVID, like January of 2020. There was a cyber school looking to go into the high rise at the mall here. That was at you?
Yeah.
And then the application was pulled or whatever, withdrew.
Actually, we didn't put an application in there.
I thought you put one in and then withdrew it. Whatever. There was talks of it.
I know we made a lot of phone calls trying to determine what we would have to do or not do there at that site.
I don't recall. Yeah,
And I
sorry.
think at that time I said you needed a special exception
Yeah.
there as well. So there is precedence for that. So that's the reason you're here for a special exception. That's all.
And I have to say I agree with the intent there. I understand that the intent of the use and the actual use is more office-like, but just the fact that it's education and making sure that everything's delineated so that we're consistent and we're appropriate, especially for the next group that comes in. And as you stated, students will not be on site. There will be no education for anyone in person at the facility. And I think that's something important for us to delineate. Obviously, we've already seen some things that have happened, and all the schools in the township, for example, are on the FAST network. Some of the schools are right next to a police station, so the response time is rather quick, and they've been deployed for some time, unfortunately, but out of necessity. Anybody from the audience have any comments? Okay. Do we have a motion?
Motion to approve the special exemption.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you so much. Best of luck.
Thank you.